Hello, thank you for joining me today to learn more about Conejo Recreation Park District and our community conversation that we are having. My name is Rochelle Callis. I'm the Administrator of Recreation and Community Services for CRPD. So in 1962, a group of people put on the ballot for there to be the development of the Conejo Recreation Park District. So we are about 60 years old. There were 20,000 people in the area. So as you can see from these pictures here on the left, this is Ladyface Mountain. And somewhere back here now is Westlake, the lake. And over here on the right, this is Thousand Oaks in the early years. And over here to the right is Conejo Creek North and South. And the mall, the Thousand Oaks Mall, is down here. So the group of people 60 years ago that put this on the ballot, it was really important to them that as the community was developing and growing and there was building happening, it was really important to them to make sure to preserve open space, trails, parks, and recreational programs for the community. So they made and voted on, and it passed, to have Conejo Recreation and Park District, which was even before the city became the city. So this here is our city now. We have about 140,000 people in our city, and this is our boundaries that we have. So this community conversation is about making sure that folks know that CRPD is here to enrich the quality of life for our community by preserving and enhancing recreation, parks, and open space for all of our residents. And so there's the three key words in here: preserving and enhancing recreation, parks, and open space. And that's what our forefathers set out for us. So we've been able to do that over the years. And so this is CRPD. This is our board of directors. We are separate from the city, the county, and the school district. These board members are voted in by our community. And together they have over 78 years of volunteer experience with CRPD. We are so lucky to have these wonderful folks leading us and the many folks before them on our board. We have our management staff. We have Jim Friedel, our general manager, who has been with the Recreation and Park District for about 18 years. Melissa Smith is one of our newbies. She's been with us about 2 years, but she comes with experience from MRCA and Santa Monica Mountains. Tom Hare is our park and planning administrator. He has worked with the city first, and he's been with us about 15 years, and then myself, whom I already told you about. We are a small but mighty task force. Our staff is really who makes things happen in our community and our buildings and our maintenance yards, in our parks and our trails. So we have a small but mighty staff. We have about 100 full-time staff. Part-time staff about 288, but in the summer it can get up to about 350. And then we do work with a lot of independent contractors. So people who have businesses and teach or do classes all throughout the community. We have a lot of volunteers. We couldn't do it without our volunteers. In CRPD programming, we have about 400 people and 11,000 hours that are every year. A lot of them are youth that volunteer in the summer for programs. And then we have a very cool program called the Conejo Senior Volunteer Program. And they have about 1,000 people that volunteer all throughout the community. So the hospital, the sheriff's department, Los Robles Hospital, I think I already said that one, and the Civic Arts Plaza. So, and many, many other places, nonprofits, businesses, for-profits, all of the above. They do about 180,000 hours at different locations. So what do we do? Well, hopefully you guys know us, but we do a lot of recreations. We have many programs, from mommy and me classes or adult and me classes, all the way up to folks that are over 100 that participate in programs for us. So we do camps and fitness classes and art classes, all sorts of different things. We also have a lot of special events for our community. So Touch a Truck is one of our big ones, flashlight egg hunt, movies in the parks, different holiday celebrations. And the big one is we usually have 5 concerts in the park in the summer. We have 4 community centers. So these are the buildings which are at our community center parks. 3 of these facilities have basketball gyms in them, and then community rooms. The Conejo Community Center is actually a special center. It's our first center, and it is also coming up on its 60th birthday in 2025. And so like with any buildings, there needs to be refurbishments and rebuilds and stuff, and you'll learn a little bit more about hopefully what the future looks like for that community center later on in the presentation. And then Dos Vientos Community Center is one of our newer facilities. We have a lot of specialty units. We have the Hillcrest Center for the Arts. Hopefully some folks have seen some of our plays. We have a small black box theater here at Hillcrest Center for the Arts. And we have a therapeutic recreation program, which is at our Old Meadows site. We have inclusion services, helps folks get into all of our programs. Then we have the Adult Community Center, and we have the Thousand Oaks Teen Center. Those three of those programs, the Global Adult Center, the Teen Center, and Hillcrest Center for the Arts, are all possible because of our partnership with the City of Thousand Oaks. City of Thousand Oaks owns the buildings that all of those programs are run out of, and they also help pay for the programming that is provided at the Teen Center. Sorry, forgot that one. So recreation also has aquatic sports and rentals. So many of you may know our CLU community pool that is on the property of the CLU campus, but that is the CRPD pool. CRPD also, when the Thousand Oaks High School and the Newbury Park High School pools were built, CRPD paid a quarter of the building costs. And so those pools are actually a quarter ours throughout the year. So we use them in the summer to offer recreational programs. Our sports department does adult sports, and then they facilitate many of our youth sports contracts. And then they oversee our reservations department also, where we have field allocations for all the AYSOs and the baseball and softball programs, lacrosse, volleyball, all of that stuff. And then we also have many reservable picnic areas in our parks. Parks and planning and park maintenance. What our park team does, which is about over 50 staff in the department, but what they do maintaining all of these parks and fields is amazing. So we have 29 neighborhood parks. We've got community parks. The community parks usually have the community centers on them. We have play fields, where play fields are mostly sports fields. And then we have district-wide parks, which are our large Conejo Creek North and South parks, the dog park, and Conejo Creek West, where ETI and our community garden is. Then we have 2 regional parks, which include Wildwood and Oak Brook. Oak Brook is where our Chumash Museum is. They also maintain all our playgrounds, and there are a lot of playgrounds, and they do playground checks and maintenance, repairs and fixing. So there's really a lot of work that goes into making sure that our playgrounds are safe and up to date. And they also need to be replaced on a fairly regular basis. So there's plans to replace playgrounds as new ones are put in. There's plans to, in 15, 20 years, replace them. They also work in our open space and trails. So on this map, you can see this is the Thousand Oaks Conejo Recreation Park area. So the small bright green areas are actual park sites. The dark green areas are our natural open space. And we do this in partnership with COSCA. So COSCA was established in 1977, and COSCA is a partnership between the City of Thousand Oaks and CRPD. So we oversee the rangers. There's about 8 of them, and they oversee the 150 miles of multi-use trails. And we have all that open space that you saw on the last slide in the dark green that they work and help maintain. We have another joint powers. It's called MRCA. It's a partnership between the Santa Monica Mountains, Conejo Recreation Park District, and Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District. They oversee about 75,000 acres of open space in our area. Again, this goes back to in 1962 when those folks voted us in and made it a priority for us to keep open space in our community. That is what these organizations do. And that's why we are so lucky to live in the community that we do, where we have all these wonderful hills to look at, open space and parks. Much of what we do is through partnerships. So we talked about our partnerships with the City of Thousand Oaks. We talked about the pools with CBUSD. We talked about the pool with CLU. We also have a nonprofit arm called Play Conejo. Play Conejo helps raise funds to support our financial assistance, helping underserved communities in our area, and then also helping with replacements of our playgrounds. Safe Passage, we've worked with Rotaries and Kiwanis clubs, have been great with us. They've helped with work days and buildings and Dreamcatcher Playground, just a lot of great partnerships that we have with them. Along with the Jan's Marketplace has been a partner with our Reign of Terror organization, and we get funds to run programs in our teen center and our theater for everyone. Other partnerships that we have, all of the folks here on this screen are on our property, and they run their nonprofits or buildings and their partnerships with us. So the Botanical Gardens, the top right picture is actually the Stagecoach Inn, and the bottom picture is the McCrae Ranch. So lots of good partnerships there. How are we funded? So when you pay your property taxes, we get a portion of your property tax, and that portion that we get is more than 5%, less than 6% of every dollar that you pay. So if you were to have $1 million property, you would pay about $10,000 in property taxes. And of that $10,000, $600 would go to CRPD. CRPD also has a district-wide assessment where you pay $40. And then there's 2 areas that have landscape maintenance districts, which is Dos Vientos and Rancho Conejo, which are newer development areas. And those were agreements that when the properties were being developed, it was agreed upon that they would pay these amounts moving forward to support the parks in their area. So other than that, we have programs, rentals, and reservation fees. So here on this one, you can see we're about a $27 million budget. You can see where most of the money comes from the property tax and the benefit assessments. About $5 million comes from actual recreation programs. And then there's another 1.2 million, give or take, that come from other partnerships, grants, and stuff that we get. How do we spend it? Well, you can see here that parks and planning, so taking care of all our green space, all of our parks, all of our buildings is about 10 million. Then you have capital. Capital is about 4 million. It could be new parks, replacing things in buildings, stuff like that. Recreation spends about 9. And then management services is about 4. So what's in the future? So we have lots of projects that we're currently working on. So this park up here is actually, we used to call it Conejo Creek Southwest. It is actually Page Lane Park, and it's off of Page Lane. It's going to be a beautiful park. It's currently in construction, and we look to be having it up and running in the summer. This is the playground that it's going to look like. It's going to have a canoe and some little water-looking features. And then we are looking to rehab the Borchard Skate Park. It is in some need for repair. So we're planning and trying to raise the funds and make this happen. It'll double in size. It's going to have some real neat aspects to it. We're currently working on the Teen and Global Adult Community Center improvements, and this is in partnership with the city. So the Teen Center is going to have the best backyard in the town. basketball court, amphitheater for concerts, a little skate area. So it's going to be barbecue, hangout areas. It's going to be really nice. And they're also doing some work inside to the kitchen and the bathrooms. The Global Center is going to have some outdoor fitness equipment and shade. And then they're having some remodeling done in a couple of the rooms and the bathrooms also. Those projects should hopefully be done by fall. So the other project that I talked about earlier, I was telling you that the Conejo Community Center is almost 60 years old also, and it's actually something that some of the work and some of the building was built by volunteers. And it's an old building, not a lot of windows, and we do a lot of stuff in it, but we could do so much more for the community with some different buildings. So we've been working with the community and company to develop what it could look like in the future. And this is what it is here, is a rendering, still keeping all the beautiful trees, the beautiful grass, being able to do the concerts in the park there. So not taking away from any of that, and really also trying to keep with the aesthetics of the neighborhood. The other thing that we do, we always work with the city and look at their general plan updates. And so how do we maintain and continue to maintain the parks to population ratio? That was something that was very important 60 years ago, and it continues to be important today. We want folks that live in their homes to be able to walk to a neighborhood or park within, a 10-minute walk. So we're constantly looking at where's the new buildings going to be, the houses, the apartments, that type of thing, to make sure that we can accommodate with park and open space. So our legacy. So 60 years ago, people left us what they left us and left us guidelines on what the future should look like. And so what's our legacy? Well, we want to continue to contribute to public safety. One of the things that our buildings allow us to do is to be cooling centers and evacuation centers when we've had fires and different things have happened in our community. We have been able to open our doors and be there for the community. We want to continue to be a safe place for children and seniors to come and learn new activities, make friends. And we also, fire season is year round, so we want to make sure that our vegetation removal process is in there, our rangers out in the field are patrolling and detecting any early warning signs, and just keeping an eye on anything that is hazardous or may cause fires. We also want to promote community health. And so through community health, it's in many different aspects. So we do it by having parks for people to walk in, meditate in. We have it by community centers so that we do have emergency places, and we have places where we can have health classes and educational classes. And we have 150 miles of open space and trails. Keeping youth safe, we do all sorts of different tutoring, anti-bully program. We have youth outreach, which is a partnership with the school district. We are working to always integrate our underserved population. Parks are open to anyone. Parks are free. Playgrounds are free. Everybody can use all of that stuff. So mental and physical health is very important. So in April of 2021, we actually did a survey, and we were hearing that these were the key priorities for our community, making sure that we can respond to emergencies and wildfires, helping homeless in our local parks, removing dead trees and dry bushes that increase fire risk, continuing to ensure safe places for children, and protecting our natural areas. And that those were all things that the community really wanted us to continue focusing on in the next 60 years. So thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope you found it educational. If you would like us to come and speak to a group in person, we'd be happy to do that. Just reach out to us and we'll set that up. But we want your feedback more than anything. So please fill out the community conversation. It's 3 questions. You can click on this, you can take a picture of this QR code and it'll take you directly there. you can go to our website, and on the top left-hand corner of the website, you can click on the link that takes you right to the survey, or you can click on the box that says community conversation, and that will also take you to the survey. So with that, I just thank you very much for listening and wanting to be part of the community conversation. Have a great day.